On the night of Sunday, March 12, 2006, a 33-year-old man named Thomas Bell checked into room 204 at the Evergreen Lodge, a small roadside motel in northern Wyoming. Thomas was a trucker, and he'd been on the road for nearly 18 hours straight, hauling a shipment of grain from Nebraska to Idaho. He'd stayed at this motel once before, about a year ago, and remembered it being quiet, cheap, and just good enough to crash for the night. When he got to the front desk, the clerk, a young guy, maybe 20, with pale skin and a bandage on his finger, handed him the key without saying much. Just slid the little envelope over the counter and muttered, "Room 204, second floor, end of the hall." Thomas didn't think much of it. He was exhausted. He just wanted a hot shower and a few hours of sleep. So he thanked the kid, grabbed a vending machine soda, and made his way upstairs. Now, room 204 was nothing special. Old wallpaper, a stiff bed, a box TV bolted to a wall bracket. But it was warm, and Thomas was too tired to care. He took a shower, flopped onto the bed in his boxers, and turned on the TV. He started dozing off about 30 minutes later when he heard this sound, like a soft, rhythmic knocking. Not loud, not on his door. It was coming from somewhere inside the room. He sat up, rubbed his eyes, and listened. Knock, knock, knock. He thought maybe it was the plumbing, maybe someone in the next room using the shower. He lay back down, knock, knock, knock. This time it was closer, and now it wasn't even really a knocking sound. It was more like tapping, deliberate, rhythmic. Thomas sat up again and turned off the TV. Silence. Then, from the corner of the room near the window, he heard a whisper, a man's voice, hoarse, barely audible. "Is someone there?" Thomas froze. He hadn't left the window open. The curtain was drawn. But he swore he heard it come from behind the curtain. He got up nervously and walked toward it, pulled it back. Nothing. Just the glass, dark outside, and a weak yellow parking lot light in the distance. He stood there for a second, then chuckled awkwardly to himself. "Too tired," he mumbled. "Losing it." He shut the curtain, got back into bed, and tried to sleep. The next morning, Thomas checked out at 7:15 a.m. When he got to the desk, the same young clerk was there. Thomas handed over the key and said, "Hey, you guys got ghosts or something in that room?" The clerk looked up, didn't smile. He said, "Room 204? Yeah." The kid just nodded. "You heard knocking?" Thomas raised an eyebrow. "Yeah." The kid said nothing, just quietly picked up the key and turned to place it on a small wooden rack behind the desk. Thomas left. 3 days later, on March 15th, the Evergreen Lodge made the local news. A maid had entered room 204 for routine cleaning and discovered something strange. Inside the small panel behind the closet wall, a panel that no one had touched in years, they found a skeletal human arm. Just the arm. Wrapped in decaying cloth, fingers curled, bones brittle. There were scratch marks all over the inside of the panel and faded fingerprints that looked like someone had been pounding or clawing at the wall for hours. Police began an investigation and found that in 1994, a man named Dale Wirtz had gone missing after checking into that very same room. His car was abandoned in the lot, his belongings were never claimed, and for 12 years, no one had figured out what happened to him. Until now. And the strange thing, the night Thomas Bell stayed in room 204 was the exact anniversary of Dale Wirtz's disappearance. To this day, guests who stay in that room, if the motel even allows it to be booked, often report hearing knocking behind the closet, always between 2 and 3 a.m. And sometimes, if they listen closely, they hear a man's voice whispering, "Is someone there?"